Let's now go to Parliament, where there's been a lot of back and forth in the last few days. Deputy Minority Chief Whip and MP for Banda, Ahmed Ibrahim, has hinted the minority will fully take part in the appropriation bill and the various ministries' budget estimates, despite what he describes as illegal approval of a budget by the majority side. He says Ghanaians will be shortchanged if the minority should stay away, adding they will have oversight on every issue going forward.
If we decide to boycott the appropriation and the budget estimates, clearly the Ghanaian will be shortchanged, simply because we've just been told that there were COVID expenditures. This is the time the Auditor General will be bringing their report and the ministries will be bringing the details of what they spent. So we need to oversight those figures very well to hold government to account. If government does something and say, okay, then I won't take part, government will run away with murder. We wanted our concessions that they conceded to be included in the budget, and that would have been a revised budget. And that is what they were running away from. That's why we also said, though, if you don't agree, we will not just go and say that there was an agreement by word of mouth. After the approval of the budget yesterday by them, what will happen now is that the ministries are now going to bring their sector expenditure and performance for the last year and their projections for the following year. And we are going to sit on them committee by committee, sector by sector. Don't forget, in most of the committees, it's 2020. And 2020, and one of them will be presiding. Even a committee like communication, we are 18, they are 9, we are 9. So clearly, if that committee is sitting, and one of them will chair, and one of us will be presiding ranking. So, and when we vote and it's 9-9, it means the vote is lost. It means before you vote against it, you have to give your option. Why are you voting against a sector budget? It means there must be corrections. Those corrections will be done and to be brought to the committee for consideration. This year levy we are talking of, the bill itself will come. That one too will subject it to a vote at that point. So don't let Ghanaians think that all is lost. No. We will stretch all processes to the latter. And that's why the minority leader was saying that we'll vote on every issue. If they say 1.5 and we say 0.5, then they put it to question. How we voted yesterday, the same vote will happen. So it's not like they are done with everything. Let them stop jubilation. There's still much to be done.
So you heard the Deputy Minority Chief Whip in Parliament, Ahmed Ibrahim Banda, speaking to us. Well, some Ghanaians have been sharing their views about the approval of the 2022 budget.
Politics these days has become a canker because they mostly approve things that, for me, in my perspective, benefits them and not us. And after hearing this, I was like, how? How can this be? Because if this is a nation and their politicians are saying they are fighting for us,
we apologize for that abrupt halt in that particular soundbite. We'll rectify that and bring that to you. We know that the Finance Ministry is expected later this afternoon to address the press on modalities after the approval of the budget and whether or not there are any amendments that will be made. We'll discover that later this afternoon when the Finance Minister addresses the press. But joining me is Dr. Abdul Jalilu Ateku. He is with the Department of Political Science at the University of Ghana. Thank you, Doc, for joining us. So, it's been back and forth the whole time since Friday. One budget was rejected. Then yesterday, another one was approved by a majority in Parliament. From where you sit as a watcher, how do you reckon going forward all of this will play out in the oversight role Parliament has to play on the executive? Hello, Dr. Jalilu.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. I'm asking, you've been watching all that's been playing out since Friday. How does it come to you?
Well, I think looking at how the issues unfolded since last week and yesterday, I think I'm very sad. I'm very sad, particularly what happened yesterday in Parliament. Okay. Because it's following from the Friday's meeting, Friday when, hello?
I can hear you, Doc. Go ahead.
Yes. So Friday, for me, I think that the issues have been concluded on Friday because the speaker went through all the processes and then concluded. So it means that the speaker determined that whatever went into the whole process was okay, and then finally the budget was thrown away. So I was thinking that maybe the majority will eat a humble pie, go back, and then repackage or rework on the budget, taking into consideration the concerns of Ghanaians and then the concerns of minority and all that, and then maybe do proper and detailed consultation, and then come back to Parliament. But looking at it, they decided not to go this way, but also to rather use, various means in order to get the budget accepted. So now the issue is, if once the budget has been, all the processes have been accepted by the speaker when he was in the chair, and then concluded. So the other issue as to whether maybe a deputy speaker who is holding the fort or performing the functions of the speaker could take another decision that will maybe like what we saw yesterday. And for me, then the third aspect has to do with the deputy speaker who was in the chair performing the role of a speaker, now counting himself as in order to legitimize what the majority actually wanted to be done. And that I find very interesting and disturbing.
Okay. Now, granted that has been done, how should the minority be approaching parliamentary business going forward? We've already heard from leadership of the minority.
Hello, I'm not getting you, please.
I'm asking, granted that has been done, going forward, how should the minority be conducting business going forward? Because the minority leader has already said that they are going to be subjecting every decision to a vote count in Parliament.
Yes. So if you look at the practice over the years, budget, often you find the majority, minority, they will debate the issues and all that. But at the end of everything, the ruling party has a country to run, they have a government to run and all that. So the minority have often given their support to the ruling government as far as the budget and then the economic policy of the government are concerned. So that's in that same spirit, I was expecting that. That's why I said I was expecting the majority to have gone back. But now that they have decided to go this path, so I look at it, it appears to be an acrimonious path. And that is why it is disturbing, because minority, so it means that either maybe they feel that they have been disrespected or the speaker has been disrespected. As a result of that, maybe subsequently they will need to. So I think that the point is that for the greater good of this country, I think that both the majority and minority must work out so that they will still come to a compromise in order to get things going well. Other than that, because if the whole budget is thrown away, it is also problematic. So, and I think that the onus lies on the majority. Because they lead the government. And looking at last week, they introduced the budget. The business of the day was introduced by the leader of the House and all that, until when the voice vote was challenged by a member, and it came from their side. And when you do that, it means that you have activated or you call for a division, and there are processes involved. And before you do that, you should, as a member of parliament, before you even do that, you should be sure that you have the numbers. Because in our parliamentary practice, we do not have pairing. We do not have pairing. So it means that it is going to be by number. Because if you had pairings, maybe some gentleman agreement, some informal arrangement could be made where maybe minority were allowed to, or maybe one of their members to step aside, and then so that they do the actual vote. But we don't have pairing. So once you activated that, when you call for a division, the processes are involved. Even in some mature democracies, when it happens, even the speaker will authorize that the door to the chamber of the House should be locked. And once that is done, it means that when you are even a member of parliament, you are out, you can't come in. And when you are in, you can't go out. So at that point, when the majority challenge the speaker's voice vote, it means that you call for this, and there are processes. And before you do that, you should be sure that you will be winning. You are sure that maybe the eyes will certainly have it. And when you did that, and then you left the chamber. So certainly, the speaker will have to go through the process, and that is what has happened. Okay, so now the issue has to do with whether it is 138 because it talks about half of members of parliament, and we have 275 seats in parliament.
Okay,
and so that will be maybe 137.5. So should 7.5? I mean, we don't also have a half seat. So that is. So I think maybe if they even felt, the majority felt that what happened on Friday, maybe they could have maybe solicited. I mean, or even gone to the Supreme Court to have a clearer picture about what to do. But they have decided also to take it this way. And the saddest aspect has to do with where you have the deputy speaker, because Honorable Joe Wise came into the chamber knowing very well that he was going to preside over the affairs of Parliament as speaker.
Okay, thank you very much.
And
Dr.
so
Atiku Jalilu there, he is with the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana.